अमेरिका और पाकिस्तान के ताल्लुकात दिन ब दिन बेहतरी की तरफ गामज़न हैं और पाकिस्तान और भारत का जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट था इसके बाद भी डोनाल्ड ट्रंप जो कि अमेरिका के प्रेसिडेंट हैं उनकी तरफ से मुतअद्दिद बयानात ये सामने आए कि हमने जिस तरह से भारत की मिलिट्री को डैमेज किया उसकी एंडोर्समेंट, और दूसरी जानिब जो ट्रेड डील जिस पर बात की जा रही थी उस पर पाकिस्तानी ऑफिशियल अनाउंसमेंट भी सामने आई। ये कहा गया कि टैरिफ्स कम किए जा रहे हैं, ट्रेड डेफिसिट जो है उसको कम किया जाएगा, और साथ साथ डोनाल्ड ट्रंप की तरफ से ये ऐलान भी हुआ कि पाकिस्तान के जो रिसोर्सेज हैं, ऑयल रिसोर्सेज हैं, उनको एक्सप्लोर किया जाएगा। तो इस सारी सूरत हाल में ये मामलात आगे कैसे बढ़ सकते हैं, पाकिस्तान और अमेरिका किन सेक्टर्स में इन्वेस्टमेंट को बढ़ा के ट्रेड पार्टनरशिप को आगे ले जा सकता है, इन तमाम मौज़ूआत पर हम बात करते हैं। जॉइनिंग अस फ्रॉम अमेरिका इज़ लॉरी वॉटकिंस। शी इज़ अ ग्लोबल पॉलिसी एक्सपर्ट एंड हैज़ बीन एन एडवाइज़र टू प्रेसिडेंट ओबामा इन द पास्ट एज वेल। थैंक यू फॉर बीइंग ऑन द शो, Laurie. To begin with, it is a shocker for many people in the world that the policy that Pakistan kind of pursued in the last decade kind of divorced them and put them away from the Americans, because if we talk about Joe Biden's national security policy, Pakistan was not even mentioned. But now, as we see, things are getting better. Two countries are getting close to each other. So how do you assess the current strategic relevance between Pakistan and America, and what factors are there which are contributing to this new paradigm shift, if I may call it?
Thank you for having me. Well, this agreement moves well beyond any kind of aid or military cooperation. It's about mutual economic empowerment between the two countries. And for the first time, the United States is treating Pakistan, in my opinion, as it should have over a decade ago, not just as a security ally, but as a strategic trading partner. And you are seeing that come out of this White House under Donald Trump.
I see. So we have seen President Donald Trump's message on Truth Social as well, when he said that we are interested in exploring the oil resources based in Pakistan. So how do you think this will navigate? Because what sectors are we aiming at when we talk about the trade partnership between the two countries?
Well, this trade relief for Pakistan, as opposed to other countries, specifically in the region, we can talk about India later if you'd like, but this opens up access to all small, medium, large businesses in Pakistan to have the ability to be able to access these U.S. markets, which they have been hindered from doing in the past. And there's no longer going to be these heavy barriers that they have experienced, and it encourages exports, it encourages the scaling of these opportunities, as well as help these local businesses have access to more than just domestic demand.
I see. So Pakistan, since it is a country based in a very volatile geopolitical environment, so how do both of the countries make this deal enduring so that it could sustain the political pressures, the geopolitical dynamics?
Well, they can work together cooperatively and strategically to share information, whether that's intelligence, whether that's counterintelligence, obviously intellectual property, and then we can get into some of these resources that the United States is interested in, as well as making sure that trading partners are not receiving oil, for example, from some of these countries that are not necessarily the United States allies at the moment.
You mentioned India as well. So since it is perceived that India is being punished for having these oil agreements and oil trade with Russia, so is that a contributing factor as well, that they get to face a 25%, 30% tariff, and Pakistan gets to have a relief when it comes to tariffs from the US?
That's where I was going to go with this. If we were going to talk about oil, it's a game changer. This U.S. investment brings capital, sure, but also advanced technology and global security and credibility. If it's managed well, it can help Pakistan reduce its reliance on energy imports. Oil is one of them, and it stables its long-term energy supply. You mentioned India. Yes, they receive a ton of oil from the country of Russia, which is why the United States is not backing down from this 25% tariff against India on medicine, on technology, on different components that the United States and our U.S. companies rely on, unless India stops trading or receiving and buying their oil from countries like Russia and China, for example. And so you saw the consequences come down from this U.S. president against India, and India saying that is not fair. But we haven't heard that India is willing to renegotiate or to back down from where it receives its oil.
I see. So, since we have seen the former policy that U.S. has had against Pakistan, but do you think that this current change, this shift that has been orchestrated when it comes to the vision towards Pakistan also drives from the fact that the Indo-Pacific security policy that U.S. used to have and heavy reliance on India, there is an acknowledgement that it cannot work that way. It has to be balanced between the two countries, both India and Pakistan. And that is why we see this difference in approach under Donald Trump's regime and policies.
Well, yes, as the Pakistanis are very well aware, they do not even trade with India, and they are a neighboring country of theirs, right?
Yeah.
And that signals instability or lack of credibility, if you will, in U.S. markets. But the Pakistanis want the United States to invest. They want U.S. companies to come into the United States to be able to set up businesses, be able to trade and export at a higher level than they already are. And so with the political and trade differences between the two countries, it will be interesting to see if India uses this as an opportunity for itself to make conciliations to Pakistan in ways that it might help strengthen itself politically and as well as an economic trading partner.
I see. So do you think that through this trade deal, there could be a new way of looking at the geopolitics of the region as well? Because first we have to look at Afghanistan as well, because it has always been very crucial when it comes to the relationship of the two countries. Do you think that this trade deal or this new approach could achieve broader geopolitical objectives for America and Pakistan, both of them at the same time?
Sure, it repositions Pakistan absolutely from the periphery of just being, on the outskirts of U.S. foreign policy to place it within more economic relevance. This aligns with a global trend where emerging markets are seen as open and willing to trade, no longer as risks, but as significant growth and opportunity. And so I look forward to seeing how that shapes out. And the rest of us in foreign policy have been wanting there to be opportunities for the United States to engage in more than just geopolitical or counter-terrorism type activities with Pakistan. And yes, where Pakistan is geo-located is very important for them and their sustainability and their security. And they rely on the United States to offer them protections in a lot of ways with the sharing of intelligence information, military cooperation, etc.
I see. So could this serve as a model for the emerging economies of the world as well? Because firstly, it was perceived that the tariff policies are very harsh towards developing economies, but Pakistan's case is an outlier, is an exception. So do you think this could serve as a model for the emerging economies to follow suit?
Yes, absolutely. We hope that there are not any bureaucratic delays. We hope that there is no longer any political instability, and any regulatory hurdles can be overcome very quickly, because the economy cannot wait around for months and months for things to be put into place and implemented, or they could lose the opportunities that they have given this global market and how it is ever changing with tariffs, with the rising inflation costs, not just that the United States is feeling, but people all over the world are feeling this. And so strong institutions, clear monitoring, and keeping that momentum going is going to be critical to this.
So we have also heard that India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi plans a visit to China, considering the current tensions that they have had with America. So do you think there will be shifting alliances in the region as well, and America calculates that as well? Because if Donald Trump, recently there has been a development just now that it is heard that they are putting 50% tariff on India So do you think it will change strategic alliances in the region as well, and Pakistan will go back to the place where it was in the war on terror, and this will bring the two countries closest to each other since the war on terror?
Yes, absolutely. There will be a shift, especially if India decides to forego future and current negotiations with the United States. And if they decide to pivot even harder to the right towards China, and let's not forget about Russia, then they will have consequences as it relates to the U.S. market, not just Donald Trump's administration and his tariff policy, but any kind of goods and exports that they are relying on to help support and prop up their economy is going to be more difficult. And, there is an election coming up Modi is running for re-election in India.
Yeah.
And he's using every opportunity that he can to come off as a strong man within his own country. And if he can be seen as being strong against Donald Trump, then I think that helps him. He thinks it helps him politically, but we will have to see as that shakes out if that actually continues to hurt the Indian people and their way of life and the cost of living there in the country, which is already significantly high.
I see. So what about Pakistan is more intriguing to the US vision of doing bilateral trade? For instance, there is technological sector, there is the IT sector, there is infrastructure development programs, and then there is the energy sector. US has also said that they are very interested and intrigued by the essential minerals that Pakistan has. We have had a minerals conference a couple of months ago in Islamabad as well. So do you think that US is more interested in energy exploration in this country, or are there other objectives on the cards as well?
Well, if you look at history over these last 7 months of Donald Trump's presidency, you can see that anywhere from Ukraine to European countries to countries in the South Asia region, even in the East, that Donald Trump is interested in rare earth minerals and how that can benefit the United States, where we get those critical rare earth minerals. And so that has been a common theme coming out of his negotiators, his intermediaries that are leading some of these efforts. But this tells me, and I hope this sends a message around the world and gives hope to Pakistanis, that Pakistan is open for business. It's not just a geopolitical actor anymore. It is a serious economic player, and we have seen that over the last few months, especially with engagement from Pakistani officials coming to the United States, coming to the White House, meeting with think tanks, meeting with military leaders, meeting with people within the cabinet, meeting with members on Capitol Hill as well, in a very aggressive, and I use that word very positively, in an aggressive approach to remain on message that Pakistan is open for business and they do want to be an ally and a more significant player with the United States. And this is a rebranding moment for Pakistan on this global stage, and I'm very excited to see it.
I see. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for being on the show, Laurie. नाज़रीन, आपने सुना कि लॉरी वॉटकिंस का ये कहा कि अब जो अप्रोच है अमेरिका की पाकिस्तान की तरफ, उसमें सिर्फ सिक्योरिटी लेंस से वो पाकिस्तान को नहीं देख रहे, बल्कि वो यहाँ पर ट्रेड भी करना चाहते हैं, और साथ साथ अब अमेरिका का पाकिस्तान को अप्रोच करने का जो तरीक़ाकार है उसमें तब्दीली ये है कि वो पाकिस्तान को ट्रेड के लिए ओपन समझते हैं, और ये समझते हैं कि पाकिस्तान को अप्रोच करने का और पॉलिसी फॉर्मेशन का और जो कानून साजी वहाँ पर होती है उसका एक नया एंगल जो है वो अब तिजारत बनना चाहिए और बन भी रहा है। एक ब्रेक शामिल करते हैं, ब्रेक के बाद वापस आएंगे। स्टे विद अस।